So the second part, we've obviously built our messaging then. We've got our messaging right for whichever sort of angle we're taking then. How would you suggest a company uses content then to influence the buyer?
So this is the sad thing, and this is a very sad thing. I've been a writer my whole life, and that's kind of my number one passion. Is I love writing, I love creating content, I love developing messages. But the really sad thing that most content creators learn eventually is, and this is a scientific fact, is that your audience is going to forget 90% of what you share with them within 48 hours after you share it. Whether it's whether it's an ebook, whether it's a presentation, whatever it is, their brain is going to forget 90% of that. Now, so you talk about this fact that what that leaves is that 10% message. Like, what is the 10% that they will remember? You can't make them remember any more than 10%. But what you can do is you can control what the 10% is that they remember. And that's what marketers need to understand. And that kind of gets down to stripping down to its very core. What is the essence of that message? What is that 10% essence that you want them to remember? And then repeating it again and again and again and again, and organizing the rest of that piece of content around that 10% message. So if you think about something like an ebook, for example, the way that we do our ebooks at Corporate Visions is we identify what is the 10% message of this story, this ebook that we're creating. And then we use that as the organizing principle for that ebook, for that piece of content. And you can have, supporting details or supporting pillars that come off of that 10% message. We organize our content around the message and then those supporting pillars. The same with a presentation. If you're creating a PowerPoint, for example, you're going to identify what is that 10% slide, and you come back to it again and again and again, and you use that as the organizing principle for that presentation. And everything always comes back to that. So at the end of the day, your audience walks away and they're like, oh, okay, well, I remember XYZ, and it should be that 10% message.
And can that help you translate into, can you go back from that and say, well, actually, I'm going to create an ebook. This is our 10% message, but actually this is how long it needs to be then? Is there a sort of correlation between something being too long or too short?
So what we usually say is that if you usually, we think 3 is a magic number. Just for whatever reason, the brain remembers things in threes. So what we always try to do is we come up with 3 or at the most 4 kind of pillars that support that 10% message. And then we organize the content into those pillars that then roll up to the 10% message. So that structure, by definition, by design, limits how long that piece of content can be. Obviously, you don't want it to run on forever, but kind of organize it around those pillars, and the excess content will kind of self-select its way out of that piece of content.
Yeah. It's interesting you talk about the repeating the message. When you talk about that, I'm then thinking about political parties. Not that this is a political podcast, but actually you probably see it in action there more often than perhaps you would do in other areas, because they are simply trying to get that message out there. Yeah. And at times they do seem like they're just saying that catchphrase. So, and it does stick. It does work, doesn't it?
Simple, resonant, and memorable. Yeah, without a doubt.